on the broadcast, quote in the comments, chanting every line. You're tuned to the truth that you'll never find online. Come on, it's the quote of Ron and Brian. If you're in, you ain't ever going quiet. Twist that dial, let the whole world hear it. Two sharp minds and the bad influence spirit. Hey, quote of Ron and Brian. Welcome to the ride, you're inside it now.
And good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night, and it is finally time for episode 418 of the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. I am joined by my occasional co-host, Brian. Brian, how the hell are you? You have to excuse me. I have to turn down the brightness of my monitor. Your nose is blinding me. But please, as I do that, tell me how you are this evening.
I am doing splendid, Ron. We were unable to do the show last week. We promise a new 1 hour every week, but there's an asterisk next to that promise, and that is, weather permitting. Last week, the weather did not permit. I know, Ron, you reached out saying you were having some internet problems. You could not trust to host the show, so we were like, we decided, you know what, we'll just push it to next week. We will make it up to you people, but in all sincerity, at the moment, I could not be happier sitting across the table from you, about to knock out episode 418 on this lovely Sunday evening. More importantly than how I'm doing, Ron, how are you doing?
I can't complain. Weather is a little shaky again this evening. We just had some pretty major thunderstorms roll through Philly adjacent. Lights flickered. Let's hope the power stays on for the full hour and change that we are on. And let's get things going, Brian. You know how we start things off with Drink of the Week.
Well, welcome aboard. Don't spill your brew. We've got one cup and maybe two. A mystery pour in a paper sleeve, the kind that makes the wise men grieve. Hey, drink of the week, drink of the week. Raise it up, let the anchors creak. Drink of the week, drink of the week. Bottoms up for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast.
Oh, Brian, I did not have a beverage last Sunday night since we weren't having a show, but that changes this evening. But Brian, what are you drinking this evening?
Ron, we've been doing beer for, I would say the last couple of months. We've been drinking beers, and I figured I needed to switch it up. I went into the liquor cabinet, and I pulled out something that I haven't had in a couple months. I remember enjoying so much. That is correct. I took out a bottle from our good friends over at the Glenlivet. That's correct, Ron. This is a triple cask matured Scotch whiskey. That's correct. A 12-year. Let me pull up the read they sent over. Through a skillful interplay of whiskeys, matured in 3 different types of casks. Hold on, let me hold this up better because I want the people over at Glenlivet to continue sending me free bottles. That's right. Look at the beauty. Look at the color of this. Look at the color of that, Ron, and get hard. The Triple Cask series samplifies the depth and complexity of the original floral and fruity taste of the Glenlivet single malt. The 3 cask types of American white oak casks, traditional casks, and ex-sherry casks have been married in varying proportions to produce 3 unique whiskeys. This is the Distiller's Reserve. Ron, I poured myself a very tall home pour. This is what we call a home pour in the business.
Generous pour right there.
This is not what this is not what you would get at a bar or at a fine beverage establishment. This is what we call a single malt Scotch whiskey poured at home. I will be drinking tonight, Ron, and this is the Glenlivet Triple Cask Matured.
I mean, it's a classic that you're bringing back. Delicious, I can imagine. Just tickles the tongue.
Oh, with a nice ice cube that is somewhat melted, so the water kind of just brings out the flavor. Just delicious. Ron, may I ask you a question?
Of course, my friend.
What are you drinking?
So this week, going back to the good people at Levante Brewing Company out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Westchester, Pennsylvania, representing Pennsylvania, currently in the Little League World Series. We have their Cloudy and Cumbersome IPA. You know me, not a huge IPA guy anymore. This is one of my few exceptions. Their hazy IPA. It is pillowy soft from oats and wheat in the grain bill, while sun showers of hoppiness shine down through the clouds. Mosaic and Idaho 7 hops burst bright with the citrusy pith flavors reminiscent of tropical passion fruit and freshly peeled grapefruit. ABV of 5.9, rated at a solid 87 on Beer Advocate. That is a very good score. Take a look at that. A little bit of haziness going on there, and we'll take a sip. I usually have this on tap. I haven't had it in can. We all know you were a fan of having it in the can in college. Let's see how this is. Cloudy and Cumbersome Hazy IPA.
From your friends over at Levante. Ron, tell us.
Here's what I love about it. You know how you can get some either bitterness or pininess with a regular IPA?
Yes.
Do not get this. This is a very smooth drinking. That's why you almost can't even tell it's an IPA. You get a little bit of that hoppiness at the end, but it's not overpowering. Very refreshing.
Now, if I'm not correct, didn't Levante also put out Slightly Cloudy IPA, which we both had, I think, 2 weeks ago, which was utterly delicious? Yeah. And didn't taste like an IPA. Do you have any knowledge? Does Levante make IPAs that are less traditional IPAs? Is that what they're known for?
I mean, they do have some that are. They have a line of IPAs called Tickle Parts, which was your nickname sophomore year of college. Very piney, very hoppy. So they do make some traditional IPAs, but they make some smoother IPAs. Much like their Cloudy and Cumbersome line.
Very nice. I'm going to say this. I think we're doing very well on the drinks of the week this week.
I would agree. Let's keep it rolling right along, Brian. It's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, it's been a couple weeks, but what's bothering you?
I've said it, and I feel like I am becoming just a repetitive complainer on a single subject. I'm going to repeat it, and now I'm going to go with a different corollary. Corollary may not be the right word, so just take that one out in post, Matt.
Okay.
Again. I've complained in the past. I know you have complained in the past. People using speakerphone on their phone in public. Now, I took my lady down to the Turks and Caicos this past week. As you know, as everybody knows, my hero Luigi Mangione recently pled guilty in federal court to shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Johnson, I believe, also the former lead singer of AC/DC. And I was just so distraught. I said to the lady, we need to get out of the country. I must, needs to be of the sun. No, it's actually not. And here it is. We stayed at a upscale resort in Turks and Caicos. To say that the average hotel room was not cheap goes without saying, but nothing but the finest for my lady. I was expecting an elevated level of clientele, and I'm going to say the number of people that were on speakerphone by the pool throughout the week. We were there for about 8 days, and I'm going to say that there were probably a half a dozen times that there were people on their phones FaceTiming, I'm assuming FaceTiming or whatever the Android version is, literally being like, oh, you're never going to believe where I am. Look at the view. Look at this. Literally, no headphones. So you hear the other person doing, oh, look at this. Look at this, girl. Look, you're going to love it over here. It drove me up the fucking wall. And I'm going to say this to you. Normally, listen, when I'm on the train and I'm going to work or back from work and there's somebody on a speakerphone call, I'll sit there and go, ugh, what a garbage person. I'm staying at a resort that's a lot of fucking money to stay at each night. I had to listen to that nonsense. And I'm going to say this, they weren't all personal calls. They were also jagoffs trying to conduct work. So there was literally a woman in the pool facing the other people who are sitting by the pool, so the pool's in the background, because they're aiming it. She wants the other people to be able to see the background. And she's just like, and then what happened? And Mary couldn't place the order online. Okay, well, see, that's a problem. We need to conduct an investigation with Marty and see why aren't people being able to place orders online? This is literally at fucking 9 o'clock in the morning. I have to listen to that nonsense. Not even that, but I'm hearing the response. You couldn't use a headphone. You couldn't talk in a lower volume, or walk away. Walk to a little bit more of a private area. Go back to your room. And I was making comments aloud. I was told multiple times by my lovely bride, Brian, please, the noise, people can hear you. Noise travels over water. And because she was the one who was on the other side.
You better hope it doesn't travel through
the door. Tower. I know, seriously, she's going to hit me. And she'll aim for the nose, which right now, as people have pointed out, a little sensitive right now, producing a little bit of oils. But it was literally, the number of times that I was getting very angry while sitting at the pool with people who are just taking phone calls. You would think that we were operating with a better group of people. That was my beef.
Well, do you think maybe it's a level of privilege that people just figure they can act however they want, even in a place like that?
No, it's not privilege, because if that's a matter of privilege, then it's taking place at all levels of society. Because I deal with that on the train coming home from work, where the people get
all levels of society. I think you don't escape. I don't think you escape people being rude, Brian, and inconsiderate of people around.
Oh, it just and I thought I was escaping all that. Oh, and the other thing, here was a sub complaint number 2, was the couple on our last day who brought a portable Bluetooth speaker to the pool. Now, keep in mind,
that should be automatic death penalty. Like, everybody at the pool should have brought a guillotine out to take care of those people.
There are multiple speakers around the pool. They are playing tropical, light jams all day long. So it's just like these tranquil beats and whatnot. And then this couple came down and they jumped in the water. And, they seemed to have been enjoying themselves, minding their business, seemed perfectly fine. And then the woman walked back to their seats, took something out of a bag, walked back. Now I see she's holding her phone and something else in her other hand. And then out of nowhere, I just heard... And I was just like... And my lady just was like, is that a speaker? Did she bring a fucking speaker? And I was like, what? But that was also outrageous. Like, and what it taught me was that no matter where you go, you cannot avoid trash. That we as humanity, literally, we are the problem in this world. And there are so many garbage people. No, nobody was eating in the pool. There was no eating in the pool.
All right, so you at least had that. You didn't have to.
True.
We know is a.
I will say this. I felt, what I fell in love with? I've always been in love with my wife, so like I can't say, that I fell in love with her on this trip. A BLT with a couple fries. I'm going to say this.
Fantastic sandwich.
The BLT by the pool, I believe it was about 20. No. The BLT was $18, so it's a solid sandwich. It's a triple-decker sandwich with lettuce, tomato, bacon, middle piece of bread,
Right.
lettuce, tomato, bacon, mayonnaise on both outside. Oh my God.
Toasted?
I fell in love. Of course. I fell in love with the BLT again. It's such a delicious sandwich. And it's so often overlooked. Except when my lady one day said, "Oh, why don't you make it a club sandwich?" And I was like, "What do you mean by making it a club?" She was like, "Ask for a piece of chicken inside." And I was like, "Why would I ask for chicken? Make it a club sandwich." I like to keep her happy. This was, our anniversary trip. So the next day I was just like, "Okay, you know what? And can I get a piece of grilled chicken inside?" And the guy was like, "Sure, of course." I didn't realize why he was so excited to put a piece of grilled chicken inside. You know why?
It was $20. It was $20.
No, it was $16 for two thin pieces of chicken, making an $18 BLT, $34 before tip and taxes. With all in, it was over $40 for that sandwich. Yikes!
Wow.
Just delicious. Just delicious. Oh, I loved it. BLT, I absolutely fell in love with. Other than me rambling, Ron, what's bothering you?
Can I add 2 comments?
Hold on a second. How about we do that in After Dark?
No. I want to make 2 comments. One, it is English bacon. English bacon. 2, I do not sound like a Cockney, I don't know, Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, I'm sleeping
I
on
was
the
gonna say,
couch
you did make
tonight.
her
Yes,
sound
you
like you
are.
made her sound like
Hi,
Thomas
Ron.
Shelby from Peaky Blinders.
By order of the Peaky Blinders. Oh, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. Oh, she's gonna be mad on that one.
Anyway,
Ron, what's bothering you?
so what's bothering me, Brian? You know I am many things. I am a 51% owner of the podcast, multiple time podcast champion.
You are also
haircut-
bisexual. You are
best
also
haircut in the
bisexual.
game. But what am I primarily, Brian? I'm a patriot.
Of
I
course,
love
you
my
love
country.
America.
And what upsets me is, especially in this day and age where, prices are high, wages are low, small businesses are suffering in this country. There are people that when they take a vacation will leave this country. They will fly over to an entirely different country and spend the U.S. dollars over there rather than keeping them in this country here. I remember I drove by a food truck. I think it was a BLT food truck the other day. Man was crying because he was like, no one wants to buy my $18 BLT. And I said, well, unfortunately, people are overseas, complaining about speakerphones and spending their money in other countries. That to me tears me apart.
Ron, I want you to understand something. And this is where you and I are different. And we've touched upon this in previous Can You Beat Rons, where, we talked about our different travel habits, where, where I go to Denmark, I go to Netherlands, I go to Spain, Barcelona. I've gone to China, I've been in Hong Kong, I've been to Turks and Caicos. You travel to West Virginia, you go to Syracuse, like we are not the same. We are not the same.
You say that I can't connect with the common man anymore, but you're the one flying business class across the ocean, lying by a pool, making probably someone who's been trafficked to Turks and Caicos wait on you and get you a sandwich, and then have the audacity to complain about it.
Ron, I am a citizen of the global community. Ron, you are a member of you like to keep it local, hyper local. You are behind in your gated community in Philadelphia adjacent. You do not want to interact with too many people. I want to remind the world that there are good Americans everywhere. Wow.
Well,
wow.
Brian,
that's a rude, Brian. That was a rude beef of the week, I'd like to point out.
Thank you. Brian, we have stories of the week. They had some of them lasted for 2 weeks because of your absence, but these are the stories that we love and we want to make sure we bring in front of you. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
Ron, my story of the week takes us to State College, Pennsylvania, a town where you have spoken so highly of over the past few years. We know you are in love with that town. You visit it often, and now I think we all understand why. Earlier this week in State College, Pennsylvania, more than a dozen Penn State fraternity brothers were busted for running a complex cocaine trafficking ring out of two separate fraternities that forced young pledges to bag drugs and then sell them to students. A whopping 14 people, including a Long Island native at the very quote-unquote top of the chain, were slapped with charges in connection to a multi-state trafficking scheme. 4 of the charged were current Penn State students, 9 were alumni, and in fact there was one group that was arrested in those 14 that was father and son. That is correct. The fraternities of Sigma Chi and Delta Upsilon, I don't really know, reportedly coordinated with suppliers in New York and Philadelphia, trafficking in cocaine and distributing it mainly to Penn State students. And how were they caught? Were they caught because they are, top of the food chain criminals? No, they were caught because they were conducting these lucrative drug deals on popular and unsecure phone apps such as Snapchat and traceable cash apps such as Venmo and PayPal, where they were used to exchange thousands of dollars in payments for large amounts of cocaine. Somewhere in here, I have the nicknames of the different people arrested. So first off arrested was apparently the top of the food chain, the ringleader from Westbury, New York. Another reason I had to leave that state was Agostino Abatiello, who was known as Pablo Pledge Scobar. Also arrested Thomas Robinson, Mohammed Harabi, so at least we can't claim that it was all entitled white people, Lars Zeepvat, Ron, hold on, no, I'm sorry, I was about to say, but it was just an embarrassment to the Penn State community. And it reminds people once again that the Penn State University and the surrounding town is not an upstanding organization. It's not an upstate scholastic institution, because suddenly people were immediately reminded of the 2011 scandal involving football coach Jerry Sandusky, who was arrested and later convicted of 45 counts of sexual abuse against multiple boys, many he met through his charity. There was also the 2017 hazing death of sophomore pledge Timothy Piazza, who died after suffering severe traumatic brain injuries and internal bleeding during a brutal alcohol-heavy hazing ritual at a non-recognized Beta Theta Pi fraternity house, which then reminded people going back of the Ted Hodney sex scandal. He was a coach/gymnast figure who committed multiple serial sexual predator assaults in the late 70s and faced minimal institutional accountability or delayed interventions. This was a story that really just caught fire across the international media this past week and reminded everyone just how scandal-plagued and problematic Penn State and the surrounding State College town in Pennsylvania is.
Well, Brian, I mean, you had to raise money when you were in college. Now college is that much more expensive. Sometimes you need to move weight. What it comes down to.
Ron, are you making excuses for drug dealing at Penn State?
I'm not saying I condone it.
Rookies.
But I'm saying I understand.
I once tried to use Signal with Joe, and she was just like, no, stop, go back to Messenger. I was like, okay.
This is where the big boys play. You don't belong on Signal.
I remember earlier last year when it came out that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was in a Signal group with other people in the administration where they were sharing war plans with each other. And I was just like, oh my God, if they're using Signal, I should be using Signal. Downloaded it, installed it. The only person that was in my contacts was Joe. I sent her a message, and literally, I believe she wrote me back like, "Why are you bothering me here?" And I was just like, "Fuck, okay." And then I was just moved on, pretended it never happened.
There you go.
It was not a matter where Signal was necessary. I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Sounds suspect.
That sounds even stranger. You just should use Signal all the time. Unfortunately. Ron, let me ask you a question. What's your story of the week?
So my story, Brian, we're going out to Warren, Ohio, where a couple allegedly caught a priest and a registered sex offender engaging in sexual activity in a park. What? This is 75-year-old Monsignor Anthony Spinoza, the rector of the Basilica and National Shrine of Our Lady of Lebanon in North Jackson. He got that's just one rank below a full bishop, by the way. He got popped in a public park after a dog walking couple says they watched him getting serviced by a registered tier 3 sex offender. He had a cigar in his hand like he was closing out a business deal. The alleged offender was on his knees in broad daylight. Witnesses say one of the men even tried to charge the couple to watch. The chorbishop denied even knowing the guy was sitting 10 feet away in his SUV. Both pleaded not guilty. He's since been stripped of his duties at the shrine. Court date is set for September. And yes, both men are banned from the park now.
Ron, I remember you used to go down to the local parks in Albany when we were in college there. You used to go there all the time and said that you had a lot of luck there. I remember you pointing out.
I don't believe so, Brian. I don't believe so.
What?
Huh?
Wasn't your nickname Ranger Park Ron?
It was not.
What are you talking about? I remember you buying those dozen cigars, and you were like, "That's the signal." Like, recall thinking back to Joe talking about how she used the signal. You were like, "That's the signal for people that I'm going to hook up with in the park."
Anyway, Brian, let's move into some stories. That's what people come for. They don't come for your playful banter. They come for the news. First up, Brian, State Representative Austin McCollum out of Arkansas. He's a 4-term Republican and Benton County judge candidate. He resigned after being arrested for allegedly punching his wife in the face and slamming her head to the ground during a domestic dispute. He's facing aggravated assault, domestic battering, and false imprisonment charges. The governor and his own party leadership publicly called for him to step down immediately. He did without mentioning the arrest in his resignation letter at all.
Good. Jesus,
Brian,
that's terrible.
You are the senior spousal abuse correspondent here on the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. What do you say to men, especially those in positions of power that act like this?
Listen, it is never okay to hit your partner except in a podcast situation where your partner is holding on to a championship belt that you've paid half for and you held on to for a couple months. I mean, there's a belt in that room right now, Ron, I've never even touched.
I'm gonna say you've never felt the glory of this over your shoulder, around your waist. I nap with it. Like, I'll take an afternoon nap and I'll hold on to it tight, just knowing that somewhere you're feeling sad because you don't have it.
That belt belongs in West New York, Ron. And I mean, Jesus, that's fucked up. No, never hit your partner. Never hit your partner under any circumstances. Violence is never the answer, just another problem.
All right. Next up, Brian. It's not just male politicians behaving badly. It is the women as well. This is former Senator Kyrsten Sinema. She is being sued by the ex-wife of her former bodyguard under North Carolina's alienation of affection law. In her deposition, Sinema went into detail about the affair, describing exactly how and where things started, a Napa Airbnb for the record, and where things continued, DC, Aspen, Phoenix. The ex-wife suit said Sinema, it's pronounced Sinema. It says Sinema knew he was married the whole time and is seeking $75,000.
Jeez.
Now, remember, she was the one that was elected as a Democrat.
Correct.
Caucused more with Republicans. Ended up as an independent, but as it turns out, she was really just spending her time boning her bodyguard in various locations where the American taxpayer was paying to send her to.
Listen, at the end of the day, I think we all know that when a woman wears a tiger print wardrobe outside the house, I mean, I know you're going to be like, oh, are you judging people? You know, women's telling women what they can and cannot wear? No, not at all. But I believe in the scene, as you like to call it, Ron, in the scene, tiger print wardrobe on a woman basically says that she's ready to play. Obviously with consent, of course, but it's basically like the equivalent of a yellow bandana in your back left pocket in the male only scene, which I believe means that you are looking for a partner to pee on. Wear a yellow bandana in your right pocket. We've talked about this, Ron. Don't act like you don't remember. Yeah, we did the whole bandana chart of the different colored bandanas.
You're right. I forgot about that.
So the yellow bandana in the back right pocket means you're looking to be peed on. Why I dwell on that, let's not talk about.
I'm not exactly sure.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
You're 100% correct, Joe. For some reason, Brian knows a lot about this.
Well, in the female community, from what I've been told, is that leopard print means I am out here looking for a acceptable
on
mate.
The prowl, if you will. Well, Brian, pre-season NFL football underway, week 2 this past weekend, means we're just getting closer and closer to our NFL locks of the week. But we've got NFL news before that involving ex-Rams receiver Stedman Bailey, who once survived getting shot twice in the head, got arrested for allegedly having sex with a woman at the bar inside a bowling and arcade spot in a Florida mall. Surveillance footage reportedly caught the whole thing, and a witness who asked them to stop says they just casually adjusted and walked off. Both were charged with indecent exposure. Bailey denies actual intercourse happened.
Ron, when we were in college, I remember you used to go to the bowling alley all the time with your dates. You said that it was one of the locations where you could get away with your public sexual encounters with very few people noticing. What was the move back then? Were you bending?
The move. You have to go on league night, because that way all of the people around you are more focused on the game and their scores, and they're really not noticing what's going on around them.
Interesting. I should have thought about that, Ron. Fascinating.
Now, what I will say, this is an example of some slanted journalism, because the headline says that he was caught having sex in a mall arcade, which initially sounds pretty horrible. But when you realize it's a bar inside of like a Lucky Strike or a Dave & Buster's type thing, I think, who hasn't had sex in a bar at a Dave & Buster's?
Of course. I think, isn't that the only reason adults go to Dave & Buster's?
Yeah, I mean, the prizes you can win aren't enticing to adults.
I think we know what prize you're actually looking to win when you go to a Dave & Buster's.
I mean, it's cheap alcohol and public intercourse.
Of course,
allegedly.
Of course, and you want to get a couple tickets, little ticket stubs you can sell to your nephew.
Next up, Brian, we go out to North Dakota where a 22-year-old North Dakota woman is accused of stabbing her 5-month-old and 3-year-old to death and critically injuring her 1-year-old during what police described as a manic episode after first pointing a gun at her estranged husband. My God, that's a horrible story right off the bat.
That is a horrible story. Why would we cover this?
Sorry. The scene was reportedly so horrific, it left seasoned police officers shaken. The woman's name is Kaylee Earhart. Again, flew into a manic episode last Thursday. She is now being held on $3 million bond, facing murder and attempted murder charges. Just again, a sign of the mental health issues we continue to have in this country.
Sure.
But also, good Lord, the poor woman, a 5-month-old, a 1-year-old, and a 3-year-old. Like, she was pregnant from the time she was like 18 up till now.
Correct. And do you think at any point she was playing the Chris Benoit intro music as she walked into each room?
Da-na-na, da-na-na. Possibly.
Are you following any of the social media going on with that court case going on? I want to say Massachusetts. I could be wrong.
The Clancy case?
It might be the Clancy case. It is a woman who is on trial right now for murdering her 3 young children. Very similar to this story. However, what seems to have popped up over the past 2 weeks is this online swell of support for her by, for lack of a better phrase, white women who are sitting there arguing that she is innocent, and in fact it is the father of the children who killed the kids and are blaming her for it. It is just a wild story. First off, I mean, she's pretty much almost admitted that she did it. I think she's going for
Not pretty much. She did admit it. Her defense attorneys admit it. Her husband talks about it. All she's attempting to do is, basically claim
temporary insanity.
Temporary insanity due to severe postpartum psychosis.
And the number of TikTok videos I have seen the first 3 seconds of white women holding their children, being like, I stand with, I'm going to call her Nancy. What's her name again?
Lindsay Clancy.
I stand with Lindsay Clancy. She is innocent and we need to investigate. Meanwhile, where are these women going back, defending Chris Benoit? None. They don't care. They're not defending him at all. He killed his wife and kid. These women don't care, but they're defending her and they're saying that, she needs to be free. Killed her 3 kids. Disgusting. Hopefully she goes to prison.
She also jumped out of a 2nd-story window afterwards and remains paralyzed from the waist down.
Hold on. Clancy, this woman?
Yeah.
She's paralyzed from the waist down?
She jumped out of the 2nd window of her home, people say in an attempt to kill herself after she killed her children.
Ron, that reminds me, your first fiance in college, the one who was in the wheelchair, I remember you saying that one of the reasons you found her such a beneficial partner was the fact that she could not flee and jump out of a 2nd-story window because she was paralyzed from the waist down. And then I remember you used to high five the other guys in the room a lot when you would tell that story.
Nope, that never happened.
No?
But I agree with you about the Lindsay Clancy story. There has been a lot of TikTok detectives that are seemingly finding all of these hidden clues.
Sure.
And listen, is the husband a good guy? Probably not. I mean, there's definitely, information out there that maybe he didn't take her postpartum depression that seriously. Maybe he wasn't the best partner. But at the end of the day, the woman already admitted to killing her children, and she's just, hopefully she's giving the defense that it was temporary insanity. But
and it probably
obviously we live in an age where facts don't really matter.
Question, Ron, what's your take on temporary insanity as a defense?
I mean, I think it's possible. Listen, there are times I want to kill you. You drive me insane. And thankfully we're not closer. Should I be punished for what others would consider a benefit to society?
That is, I mean, I feel like I was just threatened. What
do you think about temporary insanity?
I believe that it's true. I think there are times where people are not acting in their best interests. I think there are times where people snap. I know I've snapped. I've never, not to the point where I've, have no memory or anything of my behavior. However, I don't think that temporary insanity should be a get out of jail free card. I think you should still be held to the same punishment standards as if you were in your right mind.
Interesting. So this woman should go to prison for the rest of her life rather than perhaps a psychiatric institute where she could potentially get the help she needs.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Right. I have no problem with that.
Now, if it was a guy, would you feel the same way? Because I know you're usually more in tune with women being locked away. You did always love those female prison films when we were in college. So I think maybe that's
what do you mean by used to? Hold on. What do you mean by used to? To me, as soon as my wife goes to sleep, I'm putting on Caged Heat 1, Caged Heat 2. I've already learned to, edit out the dialogue scenes. Some of my favorite movies. No, I think if you commit the crime, you do the time. Regardless of what your headspace was at the moment. And I do believe that. I have no problem admitting it. Of course.
All right, next up, Brian, someone that's been nicknamed the voice memo guy broke the internet over the past week. It was a guy who sent a woman a full voice memo after their first date, laying out that if she wasn't interested in having sex on date 2, they should just call it off entirely. It's framed as being upfront about wanting, quote, sexual compatibility early. Her friend posted the voice memo. It went viral, and now TikTok is split down gender lines over whether this was refreshingly honest or a walking red flag. Brian, you are the senior internet dating correspondent for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. What do you think of voice memo guy?
Listen, he left a very forward voicemail to a woman that he had seen had been on a date with once. And let's be brutally honest. I see both sides of the coin here. He's basically coming forth and saying, listen, I like where this is going. And if it turns out that we're incompatible in this certain way, which is very important to a lot of people in the beginning of a relationship. I mean, once you've been married for a year, or in your case, 11 years, these things aren't important anymore. You don't need to be sexually compatible because all you really need is your partner to go to sleep early. That's all you need. And you can be a happy partner. You don't need to be sexually compatible anymore. However, early on in a relationship where you're looking to have sex and frequently, you want to make sure that you're compatible in that way. You want to make sure that, if your partner's willing to peg you. Like I remember you complaining when we were in college about, how a lot of the girls that you would go on first dates with, when you would introduce the strap and being like, hey, will you wear this? And they were like, no, absolutely not. Stop, you little freak. I remember you were like, listen, I saved so much money on second and third dates because we got that out of the way after date 1, or in some cases during date 1. I remember you talking about how much time of your life you saved.
I don't remember that, but I mean, sometimes I would black out, I guess.
Understood. It was all the cocaine you were doing back then. However, as the other, side of that coin, I'm just going to say that I absolutely think that it is atrocious behavior for somebody to be this forward and upfront with somebody that they barely know. You've been on one date with this person and you feel comfortable to say, hey, listen, if you're not going to put out on date 2, let's not have it. I'm married. I don't even feel that comfortable having that conversation. I don't even feel comfortable walking out and being like, listen, if we're not going to have sex tonight, then I'm just going to go sleep on the couch. I mean, Absolutely, I don't feel that comfortable.
Well, the fact is, like, you would think, all right, if that's your mindset, then maybe you have a face-to-face conversation. And
Sure.
to somewhat correct you, this wasn't a voicemail. This was a voice memo he sent her. So he was sitting around, said, I need to record this and text this voice memo to her to let her know where my head's at right now.
In his defense, Ron, other side of the coin again, some of my favorite work I've done with voice memos to you. You know, I will be sometimes just walking the streets of Manhattan, just think of you, grab my phone, go to voice memo, and I will leave you some of the most hateful speech that, like, when I see the phrase Ron saved a voice memo, I get nervous because I know that's going to come up in the next podcast debate when we are come Super Bowl time. It makes me nervous, but it doesn't stop me. I still leave you those voice messages.
Nothing will
I
ever
still
stop
do.
you.
To this day, I derive so much pleasure of leaving you unrequested voice memos.
Yeah.
Especially, and I will say this, if I've had a few to drink, it is
100%.
all bets are off. All bets are off. Slurs are said. Things, you know, even like I remember a day where I went to go. I think I was watching some soccer with William Esquire, and my wife showed up at the bar we were at. And I just remember the next day just seeing like Ron saved the voice memo. Ron saved the voice memo. Ron saved. I'm like, how many voice memos did I leave for Ron? And my wife just looked and she's just like,
if I'm sitting here and I look on your Instagram or Facebook Reels and I see you're just posting photos of drinks, I'm like, it's just a matter of time. It is just a matter of time until that first voice memo comes through my text message.
Maybe that's what was happening with this case.
Damn time. It hurts.
Why does it hurt, Ron? Why does it hurt?
Your
Don't you
words
feel
hurt,
honored? Doesn't it feel you don't feel honored that I'm thinking about you?
Not in that way, no.
I think about it. Think about this. I'm sitting with a dear friend of mine. I'm sitting with my wife, and I'm thinking of you. You don't sit there and go, "Oh my gosh, what a guy."
I guess maybe it's me. Maybe I need to look at things differently.
I think you need to. I think you need to open up your brain a little bit. Open up your heart. Open up the heart, Ron.
All right, next, Brian, let's go over to the former Soviet Union. An elevator in a high-rise in Dagestan, Russia. No word as if it was an ivory tower or not. It was packed with 9 people, 3 more than its rated capacity. It plunged 50 feet from the 4th floor straight to the ground. 4 men ended up with broken legs. Video shows the whole car violently jolting downward and throwing everyone to the floor. A criminal investigation is now open over safety violations. How can this be a safety violation if they put 3 more people in than the elevator was rated for? I mean, look how they're jammed into that thing.
Well, that actually looks like the Sigma Chi frat house in State College. I mean, notice the way everybody's wearing white shirts. I believe that is a cue for I'm a fraternity pledge who's been forced to cut and bag cocaine and then sell them throughout the university campus. Is that also going on in Dagestan? Question, Ron. Does Penn State, I mean, you're very familiar with that institution. Does Penn State have a sister university in Dagestan, Russia?
Not that I'm aware of, but I will I'll look into that for you.
Sure about that?
Next up, Brian, there was a snake in this player's helmet for an hour, and he just kept playing. Here is a photo. You can kind of see the snake's head in the middle upper part of this photo. An Arkansas high schooler said he felt, quote, some movement in his helmet during football practice and figured it wasn't worth stopping for a full hour before finally bringing it to his coach. Inside, a 2-foot venomous cottonmouth that had crawled into the padding, probably looking for a dark spot to digest the meal. Animal control had to submerge the whole helmet in water just to flush it out.
Have you seen the video of them submerging the helmet?
Yeah.
Oh, nightmare sauce. Still to this day, I think I watched a video once of somebody opening a toilet and a snake being in the toilet. I look down and inspect the toilet before I sit down, even at home, because I am so emotionally scarred over the likelihood of a snake coming up and biting me in the ass while I sit there and fart twice and realize I'm not going to poop. However, the idea of wearing a helmet on my head for a week. I remember, Ron, you told me during childhood, you actually wore a helmet for the first 6 years of your life while the soft part of your skull melded with the rest of it. I can only imagine the emotional trauma that caused you. But the damage I can only imagine to this kid of realizing, and I believe it's a poisonous snake too. This wasn't just like this is a poisonous snake just hanging out near his head and having never bit him. Oh my goodness. That's so scary.
I would not play football again. I would be done.
Oh my gosh. However, I have a question. What would Jerry Sandusky do if, because he was an assistant football coach, what would he do if one of his players, or as he liked to call them, my special guys, if they had a snake in the helmet, because he had a snake in his pants? I remember that's the way he liked to describe.
Why don't we talk about one of the things that you love to talk about, your now home state of New Jersey. Wallet Hub's 2026 rankings put New Jersey as the number 2 best state to live in overall.
Woo!
First in the country for safety, top 10 for health and education, losing only to Idaho. The catch, dead last, but one in affordability. So enjoy your safety and your $700 property tax bill. Brian, take a moment to gloat about the state of New Jersey.
Did you say $700 property bill?
Per month. Well, not everybody lives in an ivory tower there, Brian.
I have an apartment. I think it's 16 grand a year. Ron, I'm going to say this to you. There is a reason why New Jersey is such a desirable place to live. It has its proximity to a major economic workforce that is New York City. It has the affordability that does not exist, so people who use speakerphone in public can't afford it. It is a place where just the upper class of people like to go. It is one of the most bureaucratic states in the union. Do you know how difficult it is to get a building permit approved in the township of Dumont, New Jersey? Do you know how?
I've heard.
You can submit application after application after application, and that building department is going to deny. You know why? Because the state, it is sacred. The land is sacred here in New Jersey. Question: where did Pennsylvania rank in this study, if I may ask?
I don't know. I did not look to see where it came in.
Are you saying, Ron, that Pennsylvania came in so low because of South Philadelphia and John Fetterman as your elected leader? You're telling me it's a state where people firebomb the governor's home. That's the kind of state you live in, Ron. Meanwhile, New Jersey ranks number 2. I imagine the only area we came in second to Idaho was that we don't produce the tastiest potatoes, because we know what it makes the state so advantageous, so desirable, is the potato.
So I will say this, Pennsylvania came in 9th, just 1.7 points behind New Jersey. Let's see, we were 29th in affordability compared to 49 in New Jersey. New Jersey's economy is 24. Pennsylvania was 20. Education and health, you did work us over there. You came in as 7. Pennsylvania came in as 20. But quality of life, Pennsylvania ranked 4th, while New Jersey ranked 9th.
Now, question, is the reason for the quality of life so much higher in Pennsylvania because of the amount of almost pure cocaine coming out of State College?
I don't believe so.
Number sure 50, about that?
Brian? Number 50, New Mexico.
Didn't New Mexico just win a survey recently of the most sexually, progressive states? Didn't we talk about that in After Dark a couple weeks ago?
Maybe that just doesn't always add up. All right, let's
Surprised.
blow
Very
through these.
disappointed.
Let's blow through these last few stories here, Brian.
Speaking of blow, I mean, if you want to blow through stories, there was a lot of blowing going on in State College because they were selling drugs.
All right, next up, a 24-year-old New Jersey man named Mohammed Koulibaly allegedly ran a multi-million-dollar investment scam targeting current and former NFL players using fake Shopify store sales data to convince guys that money was growing. At least 3 ex-players lost over $1 million combined. One
What?
lost an entire $500,000 savings. Weeks after the report exposed the scheme, and hours after he was reportedly begging people for a $75,000 loan, Koulibaly was found dead in a swimming pool at his home. Cause of death has not been released. Where were the Clintons?
He was found
We have to ask in
dead?
this situation. He was found dead.
Oh, that's not good. That's seriously not good.
One thing that isn't great in New Jersey, Brian, are the Freedom Fuel gas stations that President Trump previously hyped on social media. Turns out the operator behind at least 6 of the New Jersey locations had already racked up nearly 200 penalties from state regulators before Trump ever touted the brand. Safety and environmental violations, including one station that got banned from receiving gas deliveries after regulators sealed its tanks over an unregistered, unrepaired storage tank. And the station allegedly cut the seal and refilled it anyway, earning a $50,000 fine. Digging into who's actually behind the network turned up an odd mix: an NFL kicking coach, a GOP fundraiser, and a New Jersey businessman who, along with his brother, was separately ordered to pay damages this year for allegedly siphoning off more than 200,000 gallons of gas that wasn't theirs. The White House says it has no personal connection to the venture beyond friendly conversations.
Is that bad? Were they not supposed to do that?
I believe that is problematic.
Ooh, okay. See, now that's the kind of thing where I feel like if you're not going to talk about it in advance, you can't really punish people for not knowing.
I guess. We'll see. Brian, going across the pond, you're a fan of the Liverpool Football Club, aren't you?
Listen, I live and breathe the All Reds.
All right. Well, guess who is joining you, Brian? Jeff Bezos. He is officially getting into the sports ownership game, joining a consortium led by businessman Amit Bhatia and including Facebook co-founder Eduardo Saverin that's bought roughly a third of Liverpool FC from Fenway Sports Group in a deal valuing the club north of $7 billion. It's Bezos' first sports investment ever after he reportedly passed on bids for both the Seahawks and the Commanders. The group even has an option to become the club's majority owner within the next year at a valuation around $8 billion. Fenway Sports Group, which also owns the Red Sox, keeps the day-to-day control for now.
Listen, what a smart, wise investment. It is just, again, Liverpool they are the New York Yankees of the English Premier League. And once again, we know this is exactly what we're talking about, Ron. Real recognizes real, excellence recognizes excellence. And once again, Liverpool they've risen to a higher level.
I mean, even though they needed a score in extra time today just to eke out a tie against Newcastle.
A final score of 2-2 is a draw. We should have won, but I'll accept a tie.
All right. Brian, before we close out, it's time to revisit a bit that's so popular here. It's but the drag queens are the problem. We do attempt to find drag queens being a problem as far as it relates to children. This first story comes out of Kentucky. Let's see if this is a drag queen. No, it is a middle school teacher. This is Sadie Flores, a 25-year-old married mother of a toddler, became the first person charged under Kentucky's brand new grooming law which took effect in July and lets prosecutors act before any abuse occurs. Investigators allege she developed an inappropriate emotional relationship with a 14-year-old student, including secret meetings and late-night FaceTime calls her parents didn't know about. Again, why you got to use Signal? She was posting about her own daughter and her face on Facebook just weeks before her arrest.
I'm going to say she should be posting about those eyebrows. Caddy, meow.
You're such a mean girl sometimes.
You're saying this is not a drag queen.
I'm saying this is not a drag queen. By those eyebrows, you might think that, but not a drag queen. Let's see what this next story is from. Brian, it is not a drag queen. It is Lauren Boebert's son, Tyler Boebert, age 21. He is Congressman Boebert's oldest son, was arrested on 5 felony counts tied to a 2024 incident. Investigators allege he recorded and shared an explicit video of himself, then 18, with a 17-year-old, and that the video ended up posted publicly to an Instagram account along with other explicit material involving teens. He posted a $10,000 bond and was released the same day. His mother released a statement saying she loves him and is praying for everyone affected. He's due in court soon and reportedly has an unrelated prior case still pending.
Problematic. I would imagine that the right have just stepped in and rejected the Boeberts as now just clearly. I mean, how do I say this? I mean, they are on the side of the pedophiles.
No, we haven't seen it just yet, Brian. Not yet. I'm sure it's coming.
No,
I'm sure not yet. I'm sure it's coming down the right any moment now. And we have one final story. This has to be, Brian. This has to be a drag queen. It's been so long since we found a drag queen being problematic. And no, this is government again. This is Mike Caruso, a former Florida state representative turned Palm Beach County clerk of court and a Ron DeSantis ally. He was arrested on multiple felony child sex abuse charges involving a young relative, with allegations reportedly including an incident during a cruise. Caruso is the same lawmaker who voted for Florida's 2023 law allowing the death penalty for sexually battering a child under 12. DeSantis himself pointed out the irony, saying Caruso could be, quote, in for a world of hurt if convicted. Legal experts note the current charges may not technically meet the bar for the death penalty, but prosecutors haven't closed that door. Other news outlets are reporting that the young relative was his grandson.
Ugh, that's disgusting. It's fucking terrible.
So we've yet to find many drag queens that are the problem, but teachers, politicians, priests, they continue to be a big problem.
Just terrible. Just terrible.
You know what's also a problem, Brian? The fact that not enough folks out there have subscribed to our Patreon. If you have not done so as of yet, go to cultofronandbrian.com. You click in the upper right-hand corner to become a patron. You can subscribe at any dollar amount, but for $10 a month or higher, you get to join us live for After Dark, which starts at 9:30, just roughly 27 minutes from now. And it is the saucier, sexier stories that we don't get to put on the regular show, on the regular YouTube, on the regular Facebook, on the regular Twitter. If you think about it, this podcast is perfect for Facebook and YouTube. Think of After Dark as something you would have to go to Signal to see mostly. But now you don't have to go to Signal. You don't have to go to WhatsApp. Nope. You don't have to go to Snapchat. You don't have to go to Field. You can just go to Patreon and subscribe and join us.
Yes. And the truth be told is that is, it is for such a few dollars a month, as little as $5 a month. You can sit there and say to people, I am supporting the cult of Ron and Brian. What does $5 get? It gets you an audio of an extra bonus show that Ron and I do every week. Ron, how would you describe the content of our After Dark?
Listen, if you like talk about OnlyFans, if you like talk about sexual polls and surveys, if you like Sydney Sweeney, if you like Livy Dunn, if you like who else?
Angela White.
Angela White, any porn out there.
If there's a story about Angela White every week, yes, every week, JoJo, I almost guarantee you there's a Sydney Sweeney and an OnlyFans story to talk about. But it's basically the type of content that we can't get away with here. Facebook would ban the show. YouTube won't carry it. But who does? Patreon. For $10 a month, you get a link every Sunday, which hasn't gone out if I'm not correct, because I just remembered Matt didn't send it. But we'll be sending it after this. That's right. Except last week, I was distraught. Free my boy. But yeah, for $10 a month, the price of 2 cups of coffee, you can get a link that allows you to watch live. And what happens on the last Sunday of every month, except when Brian's out of the country? We do a pajama party after dark. And what happens there? We invite all of our Patreon at the members who are at the $10 or higher level to come on the show with us. And we play a game. It's alternating months. 1 month, Can You Beat Ron? The other month, it is a Can You Beat Brian game. It is, to say, one of the more stressful moments of my month when I have to sit there, because when it's a Can You Beat Brian, the pressure is on me. I'm sweating. Oh, yeah. I need to not embarrass myself. And when it's a Can You Beat Ron, I feel more pressure than anyone else because I don't want to screw up the game. I don't want to have questions where the answer in question number 14 was given away in question number 12. I don't want to have multiple answers. I don't want to have a tiebreaker where I forget to put together until the last minute. There's so much on the line. And for just $10 a month.
The things that can happen to you if you don't properly prepare at Can You Beat Ron. Look at this. So he'll have a sexual predator label on your license now. See, that's the kind of thing that happens when you don't do the Patreon preparation correctly.
And not this week. So people, you've got a week. A week from today, August 30th, we're going to be doing Can You Beat Ron? Will the subject be cocaine sales in State College, Pennsylvania? We don't know. It's too early to tell. Usually, I will say this. Those games are a lot of fun.
They are. Well, thank you, folks, for joining us. It's been great to be back after a 1 week hiatus. Brian, it is great to have you back. I make fun of you, but I love you. I could not do this with anybody else, and I'm excited to do After Dark in just a little while. Anything else before we wrap up episode 418?
Nah, this is a blast. I love you. It's great to be back.
All right, folks. So Patreon, folks, we'll see you in a few minutes. Everybody else, we'll see you next week.
Takes rising, orders given. Once you're in, you're never leaving.